On December 20th, 2009, the shocking news broke the world. Brittany Murphy, the vibrant 32-year-old actress known for her roles in beloved films such as Clueless, 8 Mile, and Uptown Girls, passed away. Fans and the entertainment world alike were left reeling, unable to comprehend how someone so young and seemingly full of life could suddenly be gone. It begged the question, what happened? And I mean, what really happened to Brittany Murphy? My name's Ben.
And I'm Nicole, and you're listening to Wicked and Grim,
A true crime podcast.
Warning. The following podcast contains graphic content and material intended for a mature audience. Listener discretion is advised.
Happy Canada Day and happy Independence Day, 4th of July, because we're going to miss that. So happy birthday stuff and everything to all of North America.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very exciting.
It is. Yesterday was Canada's birthday, because we're actually recording this on the day we're releasing this episode. Usually we record a prior to, but we were busy yesterday during Canada's birthday. Not with anything fun, just work.
Yeah, I was like, what were we busy with? Just work.
Just work. So we were busy. So we're recording today. But yeah, a lot of people are having some good times, are going to have good times in the coming days. And I just want to remind everybody, stay safe out there, especially with fireworks. There are a ridiculous amount of hospital visits around this time of year because accidents do happen. So be extremely careful, take caution. And if you need to, take cover when those things are going off.
Yeah. You don't say.
Oh, I do say.
Well, I always think about too, like the animals too, because we have our one dog doesn't give a shit about anything, but our other dog is kind of afraid of loud noises, right? So,
yeah. Well, and our other dog that passed away last year, Mika.
Terrified.
Absolutely terrified. And it's not only the animals, the pets that you have, but the wildlife, the birds, the squirrels, like it terrifies them and it impacts them tremendously. So if you can avoid putting off fireworks, please do so.
Yeah. I mean, I do like a good fireworks show. I'm not going to lie.
I'm not going to judge anyone for putting fireworks off, but I will silently wish do we really need to do this sort of thing? But yeah, but you do you. Just if you can help it, please do. But help yourself too.
And stay safe.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, that PSA is done and over with. We're just fireworks, and now Patreon. So I'm going to thank patrons. How was that for a transition? Was it
very good?
Was it? You sure? It wasn't abrupt?
It was, but that's okay.
Okay.
I don't mind that.
Because I was going for abrupt on this one. I wasn't going for a smooth transition. But we are going to thank our patrons. We have a lot of people who signed up this week who get the behind the scenes access. And not only that, they got an extra episode because, hey, you know what? It's the end of the month.
Yesterday,
so they get that exclusive one. So thank you very much. Shout out to Olive, Diane Villamere, Courtney Leroy, Emma Callaghan, Rowan Dorian Jeremy, Kate, and Kennedy Young. Thank you very much for signing up on Patreon.
It's a good list.
Yeah, they all
awesome.
They got access to that exclusive episode and a lot more.
A lot more.
A lot more. Also want to give you guys a quick reminder before we start this episode that we are coming out with another episode on Friday. So building up to our 200th episode every other Friday, we're coming out with an episode. And then after 200, it's every Friday.
Yeah. Well, have we announced this event on here yet? Our 200th event?
I don't know.
I don't think we have. So this is for, it's more so for locals, but what's the date again? July?
It's the last day of the month.
The last day of the month. We're doing a live recording event of our 200th episode at Trench.
Yeah. So if you want,
very exciting.
If you're local, you want to join in, you can go ahead and get some tickets. We have a posting on Patreon, posting on Facebook, and we're going to be putting it up on Instagram as well, where you can go buy tickets so you can come join us. And if you aren't local, we are streaming the recording live to our Patreon as well. So you can sign up on Patreon and you can see it that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be a good night though.
It will be. But all that spiel over and done with, we got an interesting case today. We have the case of Brittany Murphy. We all know who she is, or most likely know who she is. She's an actress. She had quite the accolades to her name. Yeah. Very beautiful woman, very talented. You name it.
Mm-hmm.
She had it all.
Yeah.
Or so it seemed.
I know. Well, I'm actually a little bit excited about this one to hear all about it. So,
Well, I'm going to preface this by saying I thought my opinion on this would be different.
oh, okay. Interesting.
Over the years, I had a very specific opinion on this case. And now that opinion is gone, and I have a very different opinion.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
Yes. Because this is the first time I've ever actually like fully researched it. I've just kind of read some articles or like seen some highlights or seen some people like throw out this theory and stuff. And then I made my decision. And I will admit, I prematurely and uneducatedly, if uneducatedly is a word, made my decision. And now after research, yeah, that's all out the window.
Well, it's very easy to do though sometimes, right?
Yes.
When there's just so much like media coverage and stuff on cases. So.
Definitely. And I'm going to say, I hope that I can convince you to be on the same page as me. But I will lay out all the facts that I discovered. You make up your own mind. I just really hope that I can put you in the same box as me, because I fully believe that's the answer.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Okay, so the actress, Brittany Murphy, was born on November 10th, 1977 in Atlanta, Georgia, USA, to her two parents, Sharon Kathleen Murphy and Angelo Joseph Bertoli. Now, her full name, given at birth, was Brittany Ann Bertoli. Her parents, however, would divorce when she was very young, and she primarily was raised by her mother, Sharon. Her father, Angelo Bertoli, had a bit of a turbulent past and was not exactly involved in much of Brittany's life following their divorce. And as such, Brittany would eventually take her mother's last name, Murphy, hence Brittany Murphy instead of Brittany Bertoli.
Mm-hmm.
So her mother, Sharon, moved with Brittany to Edson in New Jersey. And she played a significant role in her young daughter's star, if you will, the future star that she would become in her upbringing and future career. Sharon was the one who recognized Brittany's talent early on and supported her aspirations for the entertainment industry. Brittany took dance and acting lessons, and by the age of 9, she had already begun performing in regional theater productions. Her natural talent and charisma were quite evident, and she quickly garnered attention for her performances. Together, her and her mother shared a very close bond, being described as both bright, bubbly, as well as a pair who'd often finish each other's sentences. It seemed like they were two peas in a pod, and the path Brittany was taking only strengthened what the two had, with Sharon often accompanying her daughter, Brittany, to various events and auditions. In 1991, when Brittany was 13, she and her mother moved away to Los Angeles to pursue her acting career more seriously. I mean, LA is kind of where you got to go, right? This move proved to be a very big turning point in her life. Within a year of moving there, Brittany had landed her first TV role on a sitcom called Drexel's Class. And from there, the young Brittany, it was only the sky's the limit.
That's really cool, hey?
Yeah.
I mean, you do meet kids sometimes that just seem like they just have it, right? Like,
yes.
Or they just have this, like, there's something about them that just like attracts people to them.
That's 100% true. There are people who just, as you put it, have it.
Mm-hmm.
And that goes for several different like categories in life. Think sports.
Yeah.
Some kids are just naturally gifted soccer players or basketball players or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It just seems like they have it.
Mm-hmm.
However, just because you have it does not mean you can make it, because practice is what really drives who's going to make it. Brittany put in the practice. Maybe she did just have it, but she also put in that practice.
Yeah. You still have to put in the work. And I feel like there are even individuals that say don't have it or whatever, that if they put in the work, they can have it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, definitely. Sense. What I'm trying to say, and I think what you're trying to say, is basically practice beats talent every time. Mm-hmm. If talent doesn't practice.
Yeah.
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 Oh, excuse me.
Oh,
I'm good.
Gosh.
I'm good. I thought you were going to talk, so I took a sip of coffee, and then it was just like blank space. So I tried to take a quick sip of coffee, and then I just inhaled it. So that was a mistake. My bad.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Moving on. So her big break would come in 1995 when she was cast in Ty Fraser in the classic film that we all know because it is basically included as a cult classic today, Clueless. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Her performance as a lovable and yet naive girl struck a chord with audiences and critics alike, and the film's success absolutely catapulted her to fame. Following Clueless, Brittany's career flourished. She starred in a variety of movies, including Girl Interpreted in 1999, 8 Mile alongside Eminem in 2002, Just Married in 2003, and Uptown Girls in 2003 as well. She also lent her voice to the character of Luann Platter in the animated TV series King of the Hill, which I have to admit I did not know she played Luann.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah, so news to me. Last but not least, to top off her resume, she was also a very talented singer. She also contributed to the soundtrack of the 2006 film Happy Feet, which again, I didn't know.
I did know she sang, but yeah, I didn't know that about the Happy Feet thing.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know she sang. So, but I do know like a lot of Hollywood performers do sing because like they go on Broadway or they develop that talent in acting classes and all this sort of stuff. So I knew a lot of actors sing. I just didn't specifically know she did.
I always get so pissy about that though. How can you be so good at acting and singing? Like,
I know.
Good gosh.
The one that really caught me off guard was Robert Downey Jr. If you could look up him singing, oh my God. Like, how dare you be that handsome and that good at anything, everything. Anyways, moving on. Being a new A-list Hollywood star put Brittany Murphy up for criticism as well. In an interview in the year 2000, she revealed that, quote, a very important person in Hollywood said I was huggable, but not fuckable.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's freaking rude as hell.
Yeah, but that's the sort of stuff that goes on in Hollywood.
Yeah.
Or at least, I don't know if it still does. I'm sure
it did very much so though, yeah.
I'm sure it still does today, but it definitely was very heavy back then because, hey, social media, cancel culture and stuff was not a thing. It was just behind closed doors. Now you can be outed a bit more. So who knows?
Yeah.
I'm sure it still happens, but it was definitely heavy in that time. Now, it was something that impacted Brittany very deeply. She came into Hollywood with dreams of the big screen, and she was beginning to learn just what sort of toxicity the industry held behind these closed doors. Her personal life was also in the spotlight, and soon after her marriage to British screenwriter Simon Monjack was announced, everyone knew. As soon as she got married quietly, personally. But right after, the world knew she was married.
Yeah.
Yeah. Murphy and Monjack, I forgot to change their first name, Brittany and Simon, began their relationship in 2006 or in early 2007. They're not exactly sure when they got married because it was a private marriage.
Good for them for doing it privately.
Exactly. Yeah. But they were only dating for a few months before they got married. Roughly 6 months to a year sort of thing. It's not exactly known. Before finally tying the knot. The wedding was a small and intimate affair held at Brittany's home in LA with only close family and friends in attendance. You know, as a wedding should be, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Simon, however, was a bit of a controversial figure in Brittany's life from the very start. And the relationship raised a few eyebrows in both the media and among Brittany's friends and family. See, Simon had a history of lying. He claimed many things, owning giant art collections, being a billionaire, like many, many things that were just absurd and blatant lies. He also had a history of financial problems, including evictions, lawsuits, and unpaid debts. Some reports indicate that Brittany had actually helped him financially, leading to concerns about his intentions and also his influence over Brittany and her money, because there were claims that he actually began to control her bank account and control who she hung out with or who she talked with, or even like holding her phone captive sort of situation.
Oh, okay. Don't love that.
Yeah. The concern only grew with how Brittany and her life seemed to change after her marriage when her career began to shift. She was unable to land as many high-profile roles as she was before. Instead, she began appearing in several more low-budget films and direct-to-video projects rather than ones that would be released straight to theaters. So she would be doing ones that would skip the theaters altogether, just come right out to, I guess in this time, probably DVD or Blu-ray sort of situation.
Oh, okay.
So you miss a lot of income when you're going with that low budget. And also that kind of tarnishes your name for not being that A-list status anymore.
Right.
Since her marriage, Brittany was also faced with rumors about drug use. Reports of erratic behavior on set, weight loss, and gaunt appearance fueled speculation that she might be struggling with substance abuse. However, there was no concrete evidence to support any of these claims. Brittany and Simon also denied any of the allegations and just kept their head down, trying to ignore it all. In regards to Brittany's appearance, because she was losing weight and she did look kind of gaunt, and I do remember looking at her, and I remember this because I was in high school and I thought she was very beautiful, I thought at the time. And she kind of had black circles around her eyes.
I do remember this too, yeah.
But I thought it was beautiful because I was like, hey, I got black circles around my eyes. I always have. It's just kind of like how I've looked my entire life. And I thought, hey, a Hollywood A-lister with like a similar feature to me, I love that.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was anything negative, but a lot of people did. So in regards to her appearance, Simon stated that Brittany was not abusing prescription drugs, or any drugs for that matter, and attributed her appearance to health issues such as anemia and respiratory infections.
Okay. See, I've always, because with your dark circles, I've always thought like, oh, are you sure that you're getting like all the vitamins you need, right?
Well, at times
so it makes sense that if she could just be like low on iron or something.
Exactly. Because at times my dark circles do get worse.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not because I haven't had my coffee or sleep. Sometimes it is because, hey, I think I'm probably low on iron. But at times it's better, but it's always been there. And for her, I mean, maybe it has always been there, but there are health issues to go along with it as well.
Yeah. And it's too bad that like, I mean, because then if the media and stuff are drawn to these things, it's only going to make stuff worse, right?
100%.
Like, because like stress and other stuff that she's going through because of it. Like it's quite sad.
Well, she's got health problems she's suffering from, plus her demanding career, her personal life stress, and all of it being put in the limelight, and them saying things like, hey, you're huggable, but not fuckable.
Oh, like, okay. Just listening to this, I just feel so terrible for her.
I know.
So terrible.
It took a toll on her, and as it would anyone, honestly. So in the mental health aspect alone, her early career was filled with attacks on her image, and now it was just attacks on her image again, just for different reasons. Because when she was huggable but not fuckable, she went about like dyeing her hair, cutting her hair, and trying to fit that image that people were trying to place her in. And now she fit that image, and now they're saying something different about her image all over again.
Brutal.
So no matter what she's doing, she's at a loss. By the end of 2009, Brittany's career had significantly declined. She was even dismissed from her role as the voice of Luann on King of the Hill due to her persistent rumors about substance abuse. There we go. These rumors just painted her as unreliable, unfocused, and as an actress who just struggled to remember her lines. And it tarnished her reputation. Her husband, Simon, instead insisted that these rumors were fabricated by former managers and agents aiming to sabotage her career. Whether true or not, her reputation was at stake. Brittany and Simon contemplated walking away, relocating to New York City, start fresh, and maybe begin a family. However, this move presented several challenges. Brittany was a primary breadwinner and caregiver. So in regards to caregiver, it was to her mom. Her mom, Sharon, had recently been battling multiple bouts of breast cancer, and the prospect of becoming a new mother herself would require significant changes to their life.
Okay.
She wouldn't be able to care for her mother anymore. She wouldn't be able to be the breadwinner for the family. She would be focusing on exactly that, being a mother, going through pregnancy, raising a child.
Yeah.
So Brittany continued to work in LA, taking on low-budget films to maintain an income and support her family. Despite the challenges and declining opportunities, she remained committed to her career and to her loved ones. In November of 2009, Brittany, her husband, and her mother flew to Puerto Rico to shoot the next film that she'd be starring in, called The Caller, which was a low-budget horror film. It didn't take long, though, for problems to crop up there. The movie producer apparently tried to ban Simon from the set after he allegedly showed up drunk. And as a result, Brittany quit the project on the first day. Now, there are differencing of opinions on how this played out. Simon went on the record saying that Brittany wasn't happy that it was a horror film. She was led to believe it was a thriller.
Oh, okay.
And quit because of that. But either way, she walked off the set the first day and did not star in the film.
Oh, that's really too bad. I also feel like that New York, when you brought up that New York plan, like that's so lovely. It's really too bad that, you know, they they couldn't do that, right?
100%. But as we all know, money runs the world.
Well, yeah.
And it's hard to turn down such a good job that she has that pays so well.
Totally.
If she were to do that, they would go to New York and she'd probably have to go to school and do something else, pick another career. Because there's a lot of actors and actresses out there that have quit Hollywood. And you see now that it's like, oh, they're a vet or they're a teacher and this and that. And they're just living regular lives like you and me. So that's what they would probably have had to do. And that's tough to do.
That is very tough. Yeah. Changing careers is very tough.
Many people, I'm sure, like out there listening to this, have contemplated quitting their job, but they haven't been able to because why?
Money.
The money.
You need the money because, you get adapted to living with a certain amount of money. And yeah, it's very hard to change that.
So they're in Puerto Rico, walked off the set, and instead of heading back home right away, they decided to turn this work trip into a family vacation instead. Some time away might be good. They continued their stay on the island for 8 more days. And on their flight back home, Simon and Brittany's mom, Sharon, began to get sick. Simon was reportedly so sick that he had to perform an emergency landing mid-flight so they could take him to the hospital. Apparently, this was a result of a Staphylococcus aureus, which is the bacteria responsible for staph infections. They did manage to make their way home, and they reportedly remained sick. And they were treated for pneumonia.
Oh, geez.
It would only be 2 or 3 more weeks after the return home that Brittany's mom made a devastating 911 call.
Fire Department 97, what's the address of the emergency?
1895 Rising Glen Road.
What's the phone number you're calling from? Tell me exactly what happened.
Oh, somebody's passed out.
Somebody what?
My daughter's passed out. We're doing mouth to mouth. Please get here quick,
okay.
please.
Okay. All right, we're going to. How old is your daughter?
She's 30. Please hurry.
She's 30?
To her mouth.
Can you feel or hear any breathing?
Can you feel or hear any breathing?
Can you feel or hear any breathing? Yes or no, ma'am? Hello? Hello? Hello?
Just a minute, please.
It just takes a second. Can you feel or hear any breathing?
Can you hear anything, Simon?
Yes or no?
Yes or no? No.
Okay, all right. Listen to me carefully. I'm going to tell you how to do compressions, okay?
Brittany, please come back.
Ma'am? Is he still pumping on her chest?
Yes.
Okay, needs to continue, okay?
He is.
Did anybody see what happened?
Ma'am?
Did anybody see what happened?
She was dizzy. She couldn't walk right. She's had a cold. Oh, my God.
Is she taking any kind of medications at all?
What?
Is she taking no medications, nothing?
In the early morning of December 20th, 2009, Brittany Murphy collapsed on the balcony of her Hollywood Hills home. Brittany had apparently been sick for about 6 weeks at this point, and because, as her mother claimed, she had a flair for the dramatic, her cries went unnoticed and were not taken too seriously. She was tended to by her mother and Simon, but hours later, she collapsed for a second time. She was rushed to Cedar Sinai Medical Center, where she died at only 32 years old.
Wow. That call gave me goosebumps too. That was brutal.
That call was not the whole call, of course, cut off at the end there a bit, but there was a section in between that is edited out. It's not any concern to be edited out because you can find it. That's just the best one I found as a whole. But he gives them instruction on to tilt her head back to basically open her airway to see if they can feel breathing. Yeah. And he asks if there's an AED available, but that's about it. So you can hear that piece. I just didn't find it again as a whole.
Yeah. So. Gosh. Oh my gosh. I don't know. Like, also bless those like people that are, what are like the people that get these calls. I just
first responders, basically.
Yeah. Like that would just be so difficult to have to deal with. Like you're getting a call from someone at their literal worst moment and you're having to stay calm and like direct them what to do. Like, good God.
I know.
Oh.
Now the LA County coroner ruled the death of Brittany Murphy as accidental. Ultimately, they believed that a lethal combination of pneumonia, which she possibly caught from the staph infection her family contracted from the trip, an iron deficiency, and multiple drug intoxication claimed her life.
Oh, jeez.
Simon, however, said she instead died of heartbreak due to her mistreatment in Hollywood.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
And I'm going to tell you right now, I 100% agree with Simon.
With Simon.
That's what I believe happened. And I'm going to tell you everything and why I believe that's what happened.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Now, Brittany's death isn't the end of the story, though, because only 5 short months later, Simon, too, died under eerily similar circumstances. He was found unconscious in the same Hollywood Hills home where Brittany had died, and emergency responders were unable to revive him. His death was reportedly caused by pneumonia and anemia as well. In November 2013, an independent inquiry was launched by Brittany Murphy's father, Angelo Bertoli, into her death. A second toxicology report was done, and this report, which analyzed by a forensic pathologist, found traces of different heavy metals in Brittany's blood system, which led her father to believe that she was actually poisoned. Quote, "I have a feeling there was definitely a murder situation here." So he believes someone poisoned her and someone killed her. Now, these metals, specifically, I'm probably going to pronounce this first one wrong, but I'm going to try, antimony and barium, found in the new report, are the possible result of what he says poisoning. But they're probably from hair dye, most likely.
From hair dye?
Yeah.
Okay.
She frequently dyed her hair, especially because, Hollywood's like constantly talking about her opinion or her appearance, sorry. It's throwing their opinion out there. But Brittany also, the place that she passed away in the bathroom was her favorite place. She often spent hours reading magazines in there, trying to new makeup looks, doing her hair, dyeing her hair, just chilling out, doing her thing, just in front of the mirror.
Okay. Oh, that... Oh my gosh, I don't know. This case is like breaking my fucking heart right now. Holy shit.
It is heartbreaking. So these chemical compounds that are used to dye your hair, right? These metals may have leached into her system. It's speculated that they may be present in her system due to this, and even whether or not they played a role in her death. Even if it wasn't from hair dye, even if they're in her system in a suspicious manner, it's not enough to kill her. It's not.
Okay, so that what is in her system from the potential hair dye or poison, like her dad said, wouldn't have been enough.
Correct.
To kill her. Okay.
Correct. There's trace amounts found in her system.
Okay.
Now, some argue that it was enough. Some argue that it isn't. But the toxicology report, it's there, but it's not a cause of death. Let's put it that way. The official report, it's not a cause of death. Okay. Now, there is also suspicion that her death was from toxic mold, black mold, growing inside her home. And their death was covered up due to a non-disclosure agreement between the property developers. I couldn't find too much on this non-disclosure agreement. I mean, hey, it is a non-disclosure agreement, right? So it would also explain why her husband, Simon, died as well, so close with similar symptoms. Because if someone is being poisoned like this, you think you'd find the same heavy metals in his system. But as far as I'm aware, I don't think they actually even did that toxicology report or found them. I'm not certain. Well, actually, they would have done a toxicology report because they did a cause of death in the first one, but they didn't specifically look for the metals as far as I'm aware. But regardless, didn't come up in any of my research. So I'm going to assume that those metals were not found in his system. So if it is mold in the home, that would then explain why they both passed away instead of just one. Now, while some professionals and even Brittany's own mother initially claimed that the toxic mold theory was, quote, absurd, Sharon did change her stance on this eventually in December of 2011, where she claimed that she recently found toxic black mold in the home and she believed that it could have killed her daughter and her son-in-law. Still, though, Dr. Lisa Schneinen, I think is how you say their name, was the individual who conducted Brittany's autopsy. And she claimed that there was no evidence that mold was found in her respiratory system. And there is no reason for mold to be suspect in this at all.
Well, yeah, because I'm also thinking like then the mom would have had issues, especially being that she had cancer.
Bingo.
And her immune system would have been like low.
Bingo. That is the biggest question that's brought up in this whole black mold theory. If black mold is in this house, why the fuck did she survive and not the other two? Because her immune system is going to be compromised for sure.
Yeah.
So that's a big red flag with that theory as well. And even if black mold was found, if Sharon did find black mold later on, it doesn't seem like it played any part in this because there was nothing found in the respiratory system, which mold, that's how it gets you in your respiratory system. They can literally find that today. And there was none of it in their system at all.
Okay.
So that was not found. Kind of another one thrown out the window. But yeah, fans, meanwhile, have cast suspicion on Sharon, especially after rumors spread that she and Simon shared a bed after Brittany died. So I believe where this theory comes from is that Simon was found in Sharon's bed when he died. Now, I couldn't find confirmation of if that's where he was found in the bed when he died, but let's just assume that's true. He's sick.
Well, yeah.
Go lay down in the nearest bed.
She could have just been taking care of
Yeah.
him or something. It doesn't necessarily
No, it
mean...
doesn't mean shit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Sharon reportedly had a close relationship with him and everything. Of course, it's her son-in-law, right?
Yeah.
But she just was like, no, that's not a thing. Like, we did not share a bed. What are you talking about? And she's actually like quite offended with this theory too, which if it is just a claim, a rumor, I totally understand. That's something to definitely be offended by for sure.
Well, I mean, the media and everyone has already painted like Simon in such a bad light, right?
Exactly. And now on his deathbed too.
Yeah.
So there is also this bizarre conspiracy theory that Brittany was targeted by the government due to her friendship with a Hollywood filmmaker and whistleblower. Now, this whistleblower person is a person by the name of Julia Davis, who was a former Department of Homeland Security employee. And Julia was a person that exposed security flaws within the U.S. Customs and Border Protection, claiming that several individuals from countries and terrorist links were actually allowed entry into the States. Now, this theory is supported by Simon allegedly becoming paranoid in the months leading up to Brittany's death. According to an excerpt from a book written by Brittany's longtime friend in the book called The Hollywood Reporter, Simon believed that two of them, both him and Brittany, were being watched, and he actually installed 56 cameras across their property. Simon also reportedly installed a scrambling device to prevent their phone conversations from being wiretapped. Yeah.
Okay, that one doesn't really make a lot of sense to me. I'm not going to lie. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like not following it.
Basically, there was a government employee who was targeted by the government because she kind of like spoke out against the government, and Brittany's friends with them. So they believe that the government targeted Brittany for maybe knowing things or maybe supporting her or for whatever reason having ties with this whistleblower person.
Okay.
So the government is the one who actually, quote, murdered Brittany.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, the government can be shady sometimes, but I don't know if I'm on board with that one.
Yeah, I agree. Now, the final thing I really do want to talk about is Simon and Sharon initially did not want Brittany to get an autopsy.
Oh.
Which is a big red flag.
It is actually, yeah.
But the autopsy was, of course, done. An autopsy had to happen. But there are interviews done with both Sharon and Simon, and they're even on an interview together. They're talking about like, Brittany just fucking died. Why would we want our daughter, our wife, to be chopped up?
Mm-hmm.
And Simon's even just like, she's so beautiful. Like everything about her, she's beautiful. Why do I want her to go from beautiful in death to just disfigured and go under knife in this fucking lab? Totally makes sense. I get it. And this was like the same day when she died, like when they're like taking her body away, they're like, we're going to do an autopsy. Of course, your reaction is be like, what are you talking about? Like, no, don't fucking touch her, right?
Yeah, but also like they could be doing, wanting to protect her privacy, right? Like they seemed like they were people that were sort of wanting their privacy and not getting that at all.
Yeah.
And they could have been technically hiding something if say she was like using drugs or something, right? They didn't want that to be found out.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, definitely.
it doesn't, it does seem like a red flag, but it maybe doesn't necessarily a red flag for reasons people think.
Yeah. It's a red flag, but there are answers to why someone would want to not have it done and not be a red flag.
Yeah.
So it's questionable. So another thing here is that a lot of people think Sharon was responsible. It could have been motivated by money. After all, Brittany was taking care of her, and recently she'd been not making as much money, and according to rumors, had a drug problem. Maybe she was thinking of stopping Hollywood altogether. Whatever the case, potentially the theory lies that Sharon maybe didn't want her daughter to not have the money anymore, didn't want her to spend it all, and she wanted it for herself. Now, regarding sharing the bed with Simon, I mentioned she completely denied those allegations. But if that is true, this would lend theory to them sharing a bed and taking care of her, which is kind of where this all plays in, being like, hey, they killed Brittany because they had a relationship. They wanted the money. But then why did Simon die? I don't know. These theories get so convoluted and there's nothing to support any of them, basically.
Well, and like the track record of the mom, she'd been involved in Brittany's life and seemingly supportive for like some time,
Exactly.
right?
Exactly.
But I mean, you do hear stories about that though, of parents turning or not being like supportive in the right ways necessarily, right? So
yeah,
that's really too bad.
All in all, though, there's no official documentation or solid evidence to support any of these claims or theories that we've talked about. I dug as much as I could. I couldn't find anything. The reality was that Brittany was struggling both mentally and physically with her health. Allegedly, she also suffered from heart murmurs, which Sharon and Simon claimed would have made it impossible for her to consume any illegal substances without endangering herself. Mm-hmm. So she has this medical condition where she just does not do drugs simply because it will conflict with her body, right?
Well, yeah.
But that didn't stop her from taking prescriptions, though. Prescriptions, they're easily available. They can be done by doctors saying, yeah, you got a heart murmur, here's a prescription, sort of whatever, for whatever reason. Maybe it's, anemia, maybe it is pneumonia, maybe it's for heart murmur, maybe it's for stress, maybe it's for depression. Regardless, here's a cereal box full of pills sort of situation. And on the day of Brittany Murphy's death, she had reportedly taken a cocktail, if you will, of drugs, including the antibiotic Baxin, migraine pills, cough medicine, the antidepressant Prozac, a beta blocker that she got from her husband, and a few other over-the-counter meds for period cramps and nasal discomfort.
Oh, the poor thing. Holy shit.
Yeah. As such, her death was ultimately ruled as an accident. The coroner did acknowledge all the drugs in her system and the combination with her weakened physical state, and it all probably had an adverse effect on her. Brittany's Murphy death, though, sudden as it may have been, appeared to be a culmination of the deteriorating mental and physical health that she had. I did a lot of digging on this case, and I thought I was going to find some pretty wild claims, which I did, but I also thought I was going to find some evidence to somewhat back it up. That's just not the case. The mold, even if it was present in the home, it might cause pneumonia, but it's very rare to cause pneumonia. And it was not found in her respiratory system during her autopsy. The metals found in her system, the heavy metals, they can be explained by her frequent use of hair dye. And even if we don't explain it by that, it wasn't substantial enough to cause a death. Did Simon kill her? I don't think so, because he died too. Did Sharon kill her? Well, if she did a damn good job, because I could not find a single legitimate piece of evidence against her. It's not like she crammed these pills down Brittany's throat. They are prescribed to her.
Mm-hmm.
For years, I thought Brittany Murphy's death was suspicious. But after all the research I did, I am 100% confident in my theory that she was, in fact, murdered. Murdered by the pressure of Hollywood to be perfect and to live up to the A-list status that she quickly obtained. She was overwhelmed. She needed help. But instead, everyone turned their back.
Oh, God. Wow. I can literally just sob right now. This comes at such an interesting time, too, because I recently came across this reel. And it was from probably like around this time about how like people treated Hollywood stars and stuff and like felt like they were entitled to like comment on their appearance and it was women and their appearance and their size and like, you know, you need to lose 10 pounds and just like, it was just this clip of so many things where like people just, they didn't have the right to comment on this sort of thing.
Yep.
And I mean, I'm sure it happened to men too. Like, I'm not just saying it was only a women thing, but I think it might have been a bit worse for women. There was a bit more higher expectation.
There's an industry for that against women because cosmetics, fashion, all those sort of things. So yeah, I get you.
And I mean, I'm sure it's still happening to a degree, but like people have been like speaking more out about it and stuff. And like even that's just how the generation that I was raised into. And it just has like affected so many people that it's just like not okay. Like this is just not okay.
I agree. And I will go out and I'm going to be in a brave moment here. We've been on the end of that because of our podcast.
Yeah.
People have commented on our voices, on how we talk, how fast we talk, on interrupting each other, on how we don't work well together at all. It's like we've been married for longer than you've probably been alive. Some of you people commenting. We've been together since 2006. Mm-hmm. I think we've got this worked out, but people still seem to want to comment.
Yeah. I mean, okay. So back then in this kind of Brittany Murphy era, people would say it to their faces, right? It seemed more so. And now it's like people are saying it over the internet. So maybe it's like, I think it's changed, but it could be just as bad in some instances.
I think it's just as bad.
Yeah.
I think if not, it's worse because it's more accessible to make these comments directly to the person. Because before it would be like, say your publicist or whoever as a Hollywood star, and you're hearing these rumors. Well, people are saying this about you. Mm-hmm. And that publicist or agent or whatever can also like sweep some comments under the rug. You can't sweep it under the rug when your Instagram is full of it. When you've got the comments on your reviews that are just benign, or you get the messages, the hate emails, all those sort of things.
Maybe slightly easier to ignore now if it's not necessarily being said to your face, but not saying that it is any way easier or better or right or anything. But
no, it's changed, but it's still present. It's easier to find, but yeah, you're right. It's easier to ignore as well.
Yeah.
Because you can just turn your comments off.
God.
You can just block someone.
Huh. Wow. This is just like devastating.
Yeah. So I wholeheartedly believe that Simon is right. Brittany died of heartbreak.
Yeah.
But that doesn't explain why he died.
Yeah.
Now he did get sick. Mind you, he did have that infection after the trip. It's potential that she got it too and mixed with the drugs. Maybe he was taking a bunch of drugs too.
Well, he technically could have died of heartbreak too, of losing her.
He could have.
Right?
Very well could have.
So, I don't know. Good God. I mean, Hollywood takes a lot of lives though. Often cases like it's suicide and stuff too, right? There's many people that have done that sort of thing. Yeah.
Chester Bennington, for example. Robin Williams, another example. Two of like Robin Williams was like the happiest man on earth.
Yeah. Or what about
but
that?
In reality, no.
What's his name? I'm losing his name. The one he played like the Joker, didn't he?
Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was he was a phenomenal Joker.
Yeah, he was. I just rewatched Knight's Tale the other day when you were off on a photo shoot. Love Heath Ledger, and I love that movie. Love his movies.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot for a person to take. Mm-hmm. And I do not think there is suspicion in Brittany's death. I think we all know exactly what happened to her, and no one just wants to admit it. They just want to point to something else. And they want to do exactly what killed her. Speculate.
Yeah.
Create rumors. That's my opinion.
Huh. That's tough. I don't know. That's a tough one. Like I don't know, but I also the whole Simon dying thing too was. But yeah, there was something going on there. Their lifestyle they needed to change, right? And they weren't able to for many reasons. Huh. I don't know. That's hard. But yeah, I can't see it being the mom.
I don't think it's the mom either. There's no proof of it. There's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
There's only speculation.
Gosh, and to like for her to be like a support, she was a supportive parent and being blamed of all this shit afterwards is just like horrid.
I know.
Huh.
I 100% agree. So
Yeah.
yeah, I thought I was going to come into this thinking that there's some sort of conspiracy theory that's going to really take me. None of it took me. None of it has any substantial anything to back it up. There's a couple more things we could talk about. Like there was an alleged with the mold in the home. There was someone who was there and they found that there was an inspection going on in the home and like a black mold was being found, but then the report was never released. Things like that. Say that is the case. Say there was, because Sharon did claim, yeah, there's black mold.
Mm-hmm.
So say that there was a big investigation of the house. There was contractors and they found a shit ton of black mold. Cool. It's still not in an autopsy report.
Yeah.
They would have found that shit.
Yeah.
So even if it was there within the walls hiding, so
I do think though sometimes things are hidden too, right? When people are in like so I mean there could be things that are potentially hidden a bit.
oh, of course.
But also her, like, so I struggle with being anemic at times too. And so I, like, that is, it's so terrible, like, on your body. And then if you have other health issues too, like, you're not going to be able to heal properly and stuff. And so I can understand her taking all this medication. She's just wanting to feel better, right? And, but yeah, gosh, okay.
Well, let's end that there. We had a bit of a discussion there. I'm curious what you guys think, because this is a very widely speculated case. Let us know. Shoot us a message, Instagram, Facebook, email, whatever you feel comfortable. We're easily accessible on Patreon. We're there quite a bit. If you want to check out our links, they're all in the description of the podcast. You can sign up for Patreon. Check us out wherever. Don't forget, we have an episode coming out on Friday as well. Yeah, we appreciate you being here.
Mm-hmm. Well done on that. That would have been a tough one to research, I just have to say.
That's why I was so busy yesterday researching and didn't record yesterday.
Yeah, like that's real tough.
Yeah. So,
but you did a good job.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
So until Friday.
Until Friday, stay wicked.